Welcome to the 18 Demon Claw podcast, where we discuss everything Kung Fu, philosophy, healing, spirituality, magic, and much more. And you're listening to the Last Emperor, the Lord General, the one and only Sifu.
What's good, warriors? Welcome back to the 18 Demon Claw podcast. I'm Sifu G, and this is episode 3. Today, I'd like to talk a little bit about pressure points. Is it useful? Is this Dim Mak theories, are they real? Have you ever used it? If so, I'd like to hear your comments. So make sure you like, subscribe, and share. Today I want to actually talk a bit about some personal stories that has happened that I'm not very proud of, by no means. Pressure points, Dim Mak is real. And I have hurt a few people that I have loved, and I'm ashamed that I have done so. I did mention in a podcast that I was challenged at my Mulgwin in 1992 by a guy that came into the school. And halfway through the class, we were doing sparring, light, and then after I tagged him a few times, he totally lost it and took off his pads, gloves, and wanted to fight me. And the pressure of being challenged in front of all your students and all your knowledge that you've passed on to people to defend yourself and to put a hurt on anyone that tries to hurt you. I always stick by that. So the guy, his name is Kevin, and he attacked me, and I gave him a phoenix eye strike, and it damaged him so much with one punch that he was laying on the ground, blood pouring out of his mouth, holding his body in the most agonizing pain I've ever seen from a strike. He got to his feet and charged me again, and I did a jumping back kick, and he hit the wall. I had to get the ambulance, and he lost his kidney. I didn't know the person. I knew of him. He was in my area growing up, but I wasn't friends with him. I would have been 22 years old. I just started teaching. And I didn't believe that I could do something so fucking devastating. Later, months later, after he got out of hospital, he came back to my school, and we become best mates. really close. And just last year, he passed away of cancer. I don't know if what I did could have caused that later on in life. So it's heartbreaking, you know. I don't feel good about it, but I want to talk to you about it, because no matter the pressure of people asking you, show me something, Dim Mak, you know, or anything like that, if you don't know the health of the person that you're doing it on, it could be so bad for the person, and you could end up in a lot of trouble, not to mention the heartache that I have to live by. It was horrible. There's another story. A school friend of mine that I grew up with, he was also very close. His name was Robert. He's alive. I don't know, that sounds horrible. I mean, that's good, right? But I shouldn't be laughing. He's alive. And he came to, my parents went away for the Christmas holidays and left my brother and I to look after the house. I was 18. My brother wasn't home. He was out doing whatever. So my friend Robert came down with his friend Adam, and I met Adam. I didn't know him until that night. And my friend Robert was saying, oh, you know, Gary's into the Kung Fu and knows a bit about, you know, this Dim Mak. Because back then, you know, you got all those movies, you know, with Jean-Claude Van Damme, what is Dim Mak? And he blows a brick. You know, like all these shows back in the 80s, or a lot of Dim Mak, and, you know, the Shaw Brothers Kung Fu from Hong Kong, or Dim Mak. And so he knew all about that type of jargon, but he's never got to witness. So my friend said, you know, Gary can do this or that and break coconuts, and Adam said, show me some Dim Mak. And I said, oh, nah, you know, like, I said, I don't really, I was only 18, so I was only 3 years into Yolgumun, right? But, of course, me being me and so hardcore with everything I do, I studied, I trained, I conditioned for combat, for fighting, because I work on doors and pubs and clubs, and I've always competed. So Dim Mak and pressure points and all the theories of Chinese Kung Fu is all present in the forms that Yolgumun or Bat Mei will have, especially with the Phoenix Eye Fist knowledge. So I was put on the spot, and Adam goes, come on, show me. And I said, look, according to my Sifu, my grandmaster was able to grab with his eagle claw bamboo and crush it and splinter it like a thick bamboo. That's how, I said, and you grab the wrist and you break the wrist, you know, like crush the bones. That's what I was told. And I said, but there's also another part of attacking the wrist points in a certain way with a grab. I've never done it. as in tried to hurt someone using an eagle claw on the wrist for a seizing skill. Excuse me. So he's put me on the spot, and my friend Robert goes, here's my arm, see if you can break my arm. I said, I won't be able to break your bones. I haven't got that grip strength, But Adam pushed me, and so did Robert, to where I said, I can grab your wrist, and if I do this, then it's going to affect the heart or this or that, depending on where I want to strike. So I was kind of giving him a little bit of information that what could possibly happen. So Robert's put out, so we're standing in my kitchen, Mum and Dad's kitchen in Woolloomooloo, and I've grabbed my friend Robert's wrist with the eagle claw, and there's these points, I'm not going to name them, and even if you look it up, I guarantee you're not going to be able to understand it, but you can try. And I've grabbed, and I've done the technique, and I fucking gave it a good shock power ging. And I said, that's it. I said, that was the technique. And I said, and next minute, Adam goes, see, it doesn't work. And soon as he said that, my friend Robert went stiff as a fucking board and face planted, just missing the corner of the kitchen bar, and landed smack dead in the middle of the kitchen. And I thought he was fucking around, and so was Adam, and I've gone, see, it does work, as a joke. And then I looked down, and he's limp, and his lips are blue. All of his eyes, around his eyes, the socket was blue. His face was grey. He wasn't breathing. His eyes were just staring up at the ceiling like I've just killed my fucking best friend in my kitchen. And and back then, I was only new to Yolgulman, a few years, and Sifu wouldn't teach much about Dim Mak, and now I know why. So anyway, I'm looking at Robert, and I realise that he's fucking not breathing, and then Adam starts panicking, and I said, call the fucking ambulance quick, because I didn't know how to revive him. I never was taught that at the time, right? So I've dragged Robert by his feet, limp like a dead fucking rag doll, into the lounge room, and I'm shaking him. I'm screaming and I'm crying, Robert. And he just wouldn't come to. And there was just this tears coming down his sides of his face as he's staring up at the ceiling, all blue. And I realised I fucked his heart up. His circulation, his lungs just stopped. Everything just stopped. It was so terrifying, and I'm crying. All at that time, I'm thinking, the police are going to come here. They're not going to believe what's happened. I've killed my best mate from school. Mum and Dad are away. Holy fucking shit. What am I going to do? And it was panic, and I'm shaking him, and I'm crying, Robert, I'm screaming at him. And he was gone for 4-5 minutes. And I've never been in that situation. And then I was shaking him, and Adam's trying to find the phone to call the ambulance, and he forgot. He thought he was in America. He's ringing 911. And it's 000 for Australia. You know, it was so fucking insane. I was just under the fucking pump, stressed the whole life. I was thinking, I'm going to be going to jail. His parents are going to hate me. Mum and Dad, what the fuck are they going to think? If my brother walks in, I've got my best mate dead on the floor. And then all of a sudden, he just started breathing again. And he sat up. And he went green, like green. And then threw up. And he said, when I was shaking him, he could hear me all that time, but he couldn't respond. But he said I sounded like a chipmunk, right? Like everything was in fast forward, like that. He said, but he couldn't move. And anyway, he's come back, and after a good half an hour, he decided, him and Adam, to go home, and I've never seen him ever again. And that was heartbreaking, because he was like a brother. Then I had to tell my Sifu what I'd done. And I've never seen my teacher, my Sifu, so angry and disappointed. And when I told him, he raised his fucking hand to hit me. It was hard. But I dropped down to my knees and begged, because I knew I was going to get kicked out, you know, and cop a beating for doing that and giving him a bad name. He didn't teach me any pressure points after that for a long time. He taught me some, like, hit, like, you know, when you're doing the form, he'll show you where you're hitting, but he's not going to teach you which point or the name, but me being me, I had to take it that step further, and I had every acupuncture book, every Dim Mak book, charts. So, you know, I'm 108% into what I do, and unfortunately, the ego, the pressure of someone to do something that you have no fucking skill or idea of, to get an outcome like that. And I found out that he ended up with heart issues and cancer. He beat the cancer, he's still alive, thank God. But anyone wishing to try this shit, you don't do it. It's not worth it. It's not worth the risk, the health of the person. You do not know what they are like. Even if they look healthy on the outside, you do not know what they are on the inside. Another thing with Dim Mak, some points work with a light touch, but one must have an internal type of ging to transfer your energy, chi, into the person. And without that type of ging, a lot of it won't work. Maybe because of my training and upbringing, I was fit and strong, and like I said, competing, and I trained Iron Palm from day one with Yolkumwan and Claw and all that. But you don't realise by doing all that training, you're developing internal power that can totally fuck someone up for life. And that's a testament of real Kung Fu. And it took a long time for my Sifu to trust me again. And I promised never to teach it. So, that's only 2 stories that I want to share, and both of them were awesome friends, you know. But I lost him. Tell bliss.
Welcome to the 18 Demon Claw podcast, where we discuss everything Kung Fu, philosophy, healing, spirituality, magic, and much more. And you're listening to the Last Emperor, the Lord General, the one and only Sifu.